Hello, everybody. It has been a long minute since I have been back on here. So if you see, first let me just say subscribe, hit the notification bell if you have not done so already. To all my subscribers who have been wondering where I have been, what I have been doing, I just say thank you for subscribing, holding on, and I pray you share this video and you get something out of this video. Let's see. Okay. You get something out of this video. So anyway, I hope everybody has been doing well. The last I think I did a video was sometime in November, November, December, something like that. And we were still in the midst of the pandemic and a bunch of other stuff that was going on, but I did one of my update videos as far as my Dating in Dallas series, and I will touch on that. But as I said, this is going to be this is an update video that is gonna kind of touch on a lot of stuff that I have been doing. And what's been going on. But I know first thing I'm gonna say, yes, I am still in the same relationship. Of course, I know when I recorded in December, I was, just as giddy as ever, and and just saying all of the great things about him, and and just how everything came about. And what are we now? It's about 8 months later from there. And what I can say is, of course, it's a relationship. So if you know relationships, there's gonna be moments of contention, especially when you are the ages that me and him are. We're both 50 or up, and so of course, whatever we've been through this moment, whoever we've had to create ourselves as being. We are those people. I know for me, I've been very independent, very strong, no nonsense, and but I've always said, if you saw my videos, that I definitely was going to need to have and be with a man that was strong, a man that could come in and, lighten my load, a man that wasn't intimidated by what I know, where I'm at, what I have, but also a man who doesn't think because I know these things or I have these things that it's my job to take care of him, because I wasn't doing that. We already had a discussion. Let me straighten a little bit up. We already had that discussion. So and he's all of those above, but of course, like I said, it is work. You are learning each other. There are parts of you that, you really, I'll say it like this, like, because when you're by yourself, you ain't got to work on nothing. You ain't got to, who cares who don't like what, how you are, or what you do, or how you talk, or how much you cook, or how much you don't cook, or how much you clean, how much you don't. Who cares? Because you're by yourself and you're the only one that's got to deal with it. You're the one making your wheel go around, so who cares? And of course, now when you are, in a relationship, you are now two people in the same space together. When you haven't been used to that, it's gonna take some adjustments. But as I say, and I talked about this to the people that I work with, the clients I work with, and just even young girls and young women in any relationship, friendship, male, female, significant other, you are two people coming together, and you are two different personalities, two different upbringings, two different sets of morals, and things like that. And so there's going to be parts of you guys that you have to learn to Um, some things you will have to alter, some things you'll have to change, and some things you will just have to compromise on. And you have to really be willing to understand that you may not win every argument. Every conversation may not have a winner. You're gonna sometimes just have to agree to walk away from that situation, and agree to disagree and keep it moving. I think that oftentimes in all kind of relationships, that is the best thing to do, um, because sometimes you feel how you feel. um, Nobody can change what you think or how you feel or what you know, and that person may feel the exact same way. And if what you guys feel or think about doesn't match, doesn't meet with each other, instead of constantly trying to convince the other person to believe or think how you think, then sometimes you just need to be quiet and leave it alone, especially if it's not something that's really, really big. Now, if it's something about to the core, and I've always talked about this, to the core of a person or the core of who you are, and that person is just totally far off from who you are, then that's when you have to rethink and make sure that you are choosing to move forward with someone who your spirit matches with and who your spirit meshes with. And matching and meshing doesn't mean that 100% of the time everything is going to always be peachy keen. It doesn't mean that. It just means that there is not a time in which who that person is so far off from who you are that your spirit is not at ease. And you're like, I just can't, because there's no way in God's green earth I could, move further or, commit to a lifelong relationship with this person. So that's something, of course, I've kind of always known. But of course, when I wasn't dealing with anything or in a relationship, I didn't have to, work on those things or even kind of, even weigh out those kind of things. So that has, of course, definitely been, because I'm an independent woman, sister, and then of course I want to be and chose a man who is definitely an alpha man, who is definitely used to being the one who tell everybody what to do. And and they generally listen or probably just don't argue and debate with him. And then I'm used to being the one telling everybody what to do, and they usually don't argue and debate with me. And so now here we go, two people who used to people listening to us, and both of us feel like we firm in whatever it is we may be firm in. And here you go. So that has been interesting, but that is I wouldn't trade them for the world. I wouldn't. At times I might want to give them a knuckle sandwich. But I wouldn't trade them for the world. And I am grateful. I tell him, and that's another thing that we do. Not right in the heat of the moment, but afterwards, I try to make sure that we sit and we discuss whatever that issue was later. Let him understand that every time, just because I may not agree, or just because you don't agree, doesn't mean that we got to sit here and be mad at each other forever, or whatever. I don't like to go to sleep mad. I don't like none of that stuff, because you just never know. You may not wake up the next day and now you went to sleep mad, and that person next to you, knowing the last thing that you guys talked about was a petty little stupid argument, or it was something that you guys could have just said, hey, I get it, I respect your opinion, I respect your views, it's just not my views. As long as you respect mine, we can agree to disagree and move on. And as long as you're not doing that 70% of your relationship, then it's probably an okay relationship. There's gonna be probably, I'd say maybe 25 to 30% of the time, you're going to be walking away agreeing to disagree, especially if you have any views or thoughts or opinions of your own. So I wanted to give you that update about that. Everything is still going good. We have been, what have we been doing? We have been doing everything. We have been to out of the country, I think once since that time, but we've been on maybe about 3 or 4 different vacations. That's another thing that's important to me too. because I love to travel. I'm an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, your mind is on generally probably 24/7. It seems like. So you need to be able to decompress. You need to be able to get away, turn your phone off, just have a good time. So I like to travel. So I already knew if it was somebody who can't travel with me, they probably ain't gonna be in a relationship with me. Excuse me. And what I mean by traveling with me is, I don't know about y'all, but I know when I go on vacation. Um, if when I go on vacation or whatever, I want to have a good time. I don't want to think about, worry about, talk about, care about um, anything that would make me upset. I'm just keeping it real. I'm trying to see, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure that this is even streaming because I haven't been on here in so long, so I hadn't updated my system or anything. It's been crazy. So I'm not sure if what I've been trying to do is even working. Okay, it looks like it is, but I'm not from streaming. I bought a new system, and of course, it is. I haven't had time because, and I'm gonna do some videos from there because, he is a trucker, and so I have been there. That's what it is. I have been, um, helping, working with him, and enjoying just being able to be away, from home. By me doing and working for myself, I'm able to, take my office with me. So, it's been interesting. We have been all over the place. So not just a vacation, just traveling and riding in the truck. And some of the stuff that you see and experience on them doggone trucks is very, very interesting. So, okay, I think I got it set up. But so I've gotten some new equipment and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to figure out how to make it um, where I can do some videos on action on the truck. I think it'll be interesting to kind of show you guys the stuff that is going on and stuff that I'm experiencing while on the truck. But yeah, so we've been, traveling, and why I say, because I just like to have a good time, no holds barred, just have a good time. Like, I don't know about you, I've been in relationships and where I go out of town with people, they don't want to do nothing. They just want to do nothing. They don't want to try nothing new. They don't want to go nowhere. They just don't want to do nothing. And I'm like, ugh, you are not my type of party, and this will be your very last vacation with me. And and I had to laugh because my brother, comedian Baldhead Phillips, y'all go make sure you subscribe to his page too. He always talks about, used to tell my boyfriends to not go on a vacation with me because generally that's the last day they gonna see me. I already know that I'm going to break up with them before this vacation, and it's kind of like they last hurrah. And he about 80-90% right, because I think that's been about the case with most of the people that I have went on a big or long vacation with. And it's just because it be all kind of stuff, but usually it's either they don't want to do nothing, they probably weren't in a position to be going on vacation anyway, so they really didn't have the money like that. And I kind of just like to, hey, I plan for my vacations, I put my have my money to the side as my vacation money, budget, and I just do what the hell I want to do. But then, of course, when you go on a vacation with a man, you don't want to be just only spending all your money and then he ain't got no money, because then that don't make no damn sense. So that's another reason why it be over. But, so other than that, yeah, we've been doing that. I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit on what the trending topics are, what's going on now. I know with the young lady Sha'carri, I would love to know what if once you watch this video, what you guys think. I see a lot of people talking about they're gonna boycott the Olympics, and they ain't gonna watch the Olympics because unfortunately she's not gonna be able to compete. As a former track athlete myself in college and a former track coach of some very elite athletes, I actually have coached state champion teams in Illinois. So I will speak from that vein as well as the vein of someone who has a 19-year-old daughter and who has raised girls and coached and trained girls since I was 21 years old. I will say for her, and like she said, she clearly said she knew when she did what she did. She shouldn't have been doing it, and so she's gonna take her punishment. And I actually was glad to hear her say that. I wish that she would have paused for a moment and thought about the consequences or the possibilities of what could happen if she got drug tested, or when she got drug tested, if she knew she still had to get drug tested. I wish she would have been able to pause in that moment and think about that and choose something else. But the reality is she's a 21 year old young girl. So we all know when we was 21 years old, we were not making the right decisions or making decisions like we make them now. I know for me at 50, I know right now at 50, I pause before I react. I pause before I say something out my mouth. And that's just the case. That comes from living, making the wrong decisions, saying stuff, popping off, and getting a result that I wouldn't like. But that's through experience. So I can't say that I don't understand how she wouldn't do that. Because nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect. There may be somebody else who would say, well, no, I'm not, that's the one thing I'm not going to do. But their life experiences aren't hers. So, you can't say, oh, she should have known better. Yeah, she knew better, but you don't know, you don't know her life. You don't know how she was feeling in the moment. And you have to understand she is young still. And they don't, especially now, they've been in school the past year and a half. They haven't, quote unquote, been in school. If they've been in school, they're limited to who they can interact with. They all got a lot of emotional stuff going on. They all are dealing with a lot of things that they don't know how to cope with, because just like us, most of us have never lived through this type of situation that the virus put us in. So, but we are all adults. Most of us are adults. If we're over 30, you've still been through other stuff. You've been through things that you've had to figure out how to maneuver your way through. And so you can deal with this emotional turmoil that being in this pandemic has caused everybody. Whereas a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, especially those who are just going off to college, they're looking for college to be this, and that. Oh, they heard about college, and then they get there and they can't do nothing, can't talk to nobody, ain't going nowhere. It's just a lot of stuff. Then you come from a situation, I'm not sure of hers, but it just sounds like, I'm an adoptive mom. So it sounds like it's potentially one of the situations like one of my daughters or a couple of my daughters have been through, which is why, she was probably growing up with her grandma, not knowing, not sure. So I'm not going to speak on that. But what I can say is she's only 21. There are so many other competitions that she's going to still be able to compete in. And if she does that and continues on, and track and field is the thing, and I think I saw her announcing she was going to go be a professional athlete, that's the thing that she wants to do. Y'all, knowing what I know, she can be back in 4 years. It's 4, 2, however many, I can't remember. She will be back, and if anything, looking at her personality, she's going to be back with a vengeance. Her training, her workout ethic, everything that she's going to do between now and then is going to be so intense. She's going to come back and blow them more out the water. So, everybody got all this other, stuff to say. It's a child. She's still a child. Now, she's going to want to say she's grown. and she is on by number grown. But the brains, if you know anything about science, brains are still developing up until you're about 24 years old. So her brain is even still developing. All of my daughter's brain, all of them. That's why they all over the doggone place, probably driving all us mamas, grandmamas, aunties, and everybody crazy right now because they all some emotional roller coasters. What we got to do is love on them, pray for them, give them their space when they need it. Let them know when they make mistakes, it's not the end of the world. Pray that they listen to our advice after they make the mistake. When they don't, they always in the hands of God. Let God continue to watch and cover them, and pray that the decisions that they make don't give them such a hard beating that they're running back crying or whatever. And there gonna be times where they're gonna be crying. We just pray because that's what your parents and the people who love you care about. They don't want you to experience the things and the heartache and the turmoil that they've experienced. That's just life. That's just how it goes. But reality is, we all know, because half of us didn't listen all the time to our mamas and grandmamas. Either some things you just have to learn, the hard way. You hate it because you love them and you don't want them to. I'm sure all those people that love her don't want her to have to, not be able to compete. But at the same time, this was a learning experience, for her. And, now this will be something when she's 30 years old or 35, she'll be telling another young athlete herself, like, hey, something happens, emotional, whatever, just before you make a drastic decision, pause, talk to somebody who you can trust, and let out your emotions and deal with your stuff so that you are hopefully making the right decision that doesn't ruin something down the line. But it's not over for her at all. I love her. I love her confident cockiness. I can tell she's training her butt off. I love her. That's the exact type of girl and athlete that I love to work with, because they're not perfect. But it just reminds, that's like how I was. You just needed somebody, and those people who loved you unconditionally, there for you. And when you have that, you be a little rough around the edges, but you end up proving the world, those around you who grew up with you, who may have put, talk bad on your name or whatever the case may be, you end up proving them wrong. Not because you're trying to prove them wrong, but just because you're trying to be the best you that you can be and be your best self. So I am keeping Sha'carri in my prayers. I can't wait to see her in all of the competitions that I know she's going to be in the years to come. And then again in the Olympics. But will I be watching track and field in the Olympics? Yes, I will. And that's because there are a lot of other young black athletes, minority athletes, definitely black, that have competed and worked the hardest to qualify, and they have qualified. And I want to watch in support of them. I'm not going to let my feelings about not seeing one particular athlete, make those people feel like, oh, they don't matter. I'm not going to care about them because, one person isn't running. You live the race again. Anybody who runs track or does any sports, hey, it's a meet day. It's a meet. Once you're done, you leave it all on the track. You get a chance again, the next race, next event, to do it all over again, to try again. You don't hold on to that stuff because you're going to always have another opportunity. Even if you don't win the race, hey, you figure out what you did. Did you come out the blocks too slow? Did you, let up at the line? All these different things that you can do in track and field where you're turning your feet over. There's all kind of stuff that you can fix at the next race. You ain't gonna sit here and dwell on, you lost. Hey, I might have came second or third, but now I know what I did, work with my coach, get my mind right, and let me get out here and do better, because you're racing the clock anyway, okay? So I'm not gonna not watch the Olympics. I pray anybody who watches this video, y'all don't not watch the Olympics. And y'all keep little Miss Sha'carri in your prayers, and everyone else, all the athletes who have qualified. I am definitely proud, and You keep them in your prayers and make sure that you pray that they do their best, stay healthy, everything stay intact, and they do their best on that world stage. Okay, so what else has been going on? Oh, everybody been talking about doing like the lady for the color purple. All of the PPPs and the SBA loans, and you got all these gurus and coaches and just all these people who are, they experts in everything, and they ain't experts in nothing but scamming and lying and scheming. And now, of course, everybody is scrambling. A lot of people are scrambling because they allowed these scammers, schemers, and people who really wasn't nothing but trying to come up on some money, put them in positions of doing illegal things, lying on federal documents, lying to banks, and all kind of stuff, in order to obtain government funds. I go on YouTube and I try to watch a lot of different people. I'm definitely gonna I can't remember this girl's name, but she's from Chicago. But I want to say the guy, he calls his people the pocket watchers. He's a financial advisor and a tax advisor. I watch his YouTube channel. I'm gonna give him a shout out because he is one person that I'm able to watch from beginning to end, and can't say he lying to people. Can't say he doesn't know what he's talking about. I love how he dissects other people's videos, these gurus and these coaches and these millionaire real estate people, all these people who they saying they all this stuff and all they doing is borrowing other people's cars or renting cars or going and asking people can they film at their house and all this jewelry and all this stuff. All they doing is borrowing and leasing and renting that stuff. And unfortunately, because they think that most minority, low income, black folks or just low income people are so enamored by things that all you gotta say is, this is what I did, this is how I got this, and they just gonna run at you, listen to everything you say, give you your last dime, in order to get on your team because you done sat here and lied to them and made them think that what you teaching is right, what you're saying is right, and this is how you obtain those things. I don't know about y'all, but I watch that American Greed on CNBC all the time for this exact reason. All I'm gonna say is if you watch this video, I would ask that you go and watch. I know a lot of people think, oh, CNBC, that's not. You need to watch American Greed. If you watch American Greed, a lot of these people who call themselves gurus and experts and coaches and all this stuff, you would see the tendencies of a scammer and a con artist in those people if you watched American Greed, because it ain't nothing but them. It is so interesting. And I mean, it's all races and creeds on American Greed. And so, of course, who created this stuff, we generally already know. So if you watch the people who the best at it, and that's the people who copying and mimicking, you'll know when you see them. And you just won't go for that. Or when you watching stuff, I tell you all the time, when you watch my videos, especially if I'm doing a business video or if I'm teaching something about, business entity types, taxation, budgeting, things like that. If I'm speaking on stuff like that, first of all, and I put it in there, I have a bachelor's degree in paralegal studies. I have a master's degree in accounting. I have a graduate certification in marketing, and I have been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. If I say something, I'm not saying nothing that I haven't researched. I'm not saying nothing that I don't know, that I didn't learn. I'm not saying nothing that I'm not practicing in my businesses. Do I know everything? No. That's also why I make sure that I do continuing education hours every year to learn. But do I learn still everything? Because when you're dealing with tax and money, it's so many codes, it's so many different things to learn and know, and you're not going to remember everything. So oftentimes I have to go in my book. I have to go to the IRS website. I have to go and research and update and learn about certain things that I may not do on an everyday basis. But I go straight to the source. I don't sit here and go to people who ain't the source. That's all I'm gonna say. And or who aren't reputable companies and sites that are getting their information directly from the source. But I'm listening. So that guy, I like him, because I am sitting here and I'm just, first of all, I'm so in awe at how many people have gotten just involved and bamboozled with the whole, all the SBA loans, and how, oh, it's free money, and oh, no, it's gonna be free. It's gonna get, and it's like, first of all, ain't no such thing as free money. Unless, and then if you play the lottery, it ain't free, because you paid and you played and you gambled to win that. You just, you just, you just didn't invest as much as you're going to win. But, and yes, a lot of that with that, it was grants, and a lot of stuff was forgivable. But, what people miss, and what everybody who sat there and lied to obtain that money, even if they didn't do it themselves, if you allowed somebody else to do it for you, that right there is about 70% chance that you knew it was some BS anyway. Because if it was something that you was truly entitled to, you would be able to do it yourself, or your tax professional, accountant, CPA, whatever, would be able to do it for you, because they have all of the information that is truthful and factual, and so the process will be smooth, because they ain't making up nothing. They already got everything that they needed. But when you got to give your information to somebody that you don't know, they charging you thousands of dollars to do something. First of all, nothing costs thousands of dollars. I'm just saying, especially now with filling out an application for something. You generally shouldn't charge for that anyway. Processing fees, your time, depending on how much you charge an hour, maybe a couple hundred or even up to a few $100s. Yes, but depending on how much time it's going to take. But thousands of dollars to help you get government funding for something that you're entitled to, you knew that was a scam. You knew somebody was scamming. And understand, I don't see how you didn't understand that, especially half of the people you on public, a lot of people are on public assistance, getting some kind of help some way. You've been telling the government for years that you ain't got no job, or you only make this amount of money. You ain't never claimed a business. Now all of a sudden, when they want to help out small business owners, you got a business. And letting somebody fill out something, not understanding that in most of that paperwork, they had to give paperwork showing a business from 2019. And you in 2020. And which means if you didn't have that business, you already found it, you already got your refund, and saying that you only made $16,000, and that's how you're keeping your Section 8 and all your other stuff, that's all you did. Now all of a sudden you sending a document to the same government saying, now I got a business that I make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, because in order to get, $50,000, they had to say that you make $20,000 a month in your business. Understand that. So anybody who walked away with 50 plus, you understand what it was is 2.5 times whatever you make a month. That's what you got when it comes to the PPP. So if you got 50,000, they said you made 20, because 20 times 2.5 is 50. Guess what that means? That means that when you file a tax return, your tax return should be showing a gross receipts, sales, whatever the business is, of 20,000 times 12, which is over $280,000 a year, between $240,000 $280,000 a year. So you should be filing a tax return saying that that's how much you make, because you just said you averaged $20,000 a month in 2019, and most of y'all had already found your return, and it sure ain't say no $200,000 and some $1,000. So it's like nobody was thinking. Nobody, it's just like, oh, let's quick come on. And even if right now, because they was in the middle of the pandemic and they didn't have time to research and look, that may be the case now. But if you read the fine print, which y'all, most of the people didn't read it because they didn't do what they said, and you went to somebody unethical that was sitting here doing things for you, but you had to, well, they should have had you sign it, but I don't even know if that happened. But however, if you read the fine print, I guarantee you, it's in there where there is a length of time, years forward, where they can always review your information. Always ask you to, even 5 years, 10 years, if you got the EIDL, that's a 30-year. No, so you got 30 years where they ain't your business, unless you hurry up and pay it back. So I just had to kind of talk about that because that has been one of the things that has just been, I don't know, just all that. I do what I do. I don't try to fake. I don't try to front. I don't, have to show nobody what kind of, car I got. I'm not trying to put on all my jewelry when I do a video or, and all that. And I'm not knocking nobody who that's what they do, especially if they own the stuff, you know. Because to each his own. That's just not my way, and everybody's not your audience. They're gonna have their audience who want to see all that, and then I'm gonna have my audience who just want somebody who they know is, being themselves, doing what they're doing in order to truthfully help people educate themselves, do better in their business, set up their families for generational wealth, as well as being mentally and emotionally happy in the skin that they're in. Those kind of people are the people who are going to listen to me. Am I okay? Yes, I am, but that's not what I'm trying to, I don't have to show that. That's not, I feel like if you get the inside right, if you get your core right, if you are functioning from a vein and a place of being and doing good, all the other stuff is going to come. God going to bless you. You're going to get that which you desire. So I don't have to throw that in the face of people all the time. Are there times, especially with my story and just what I've been through growing up and just what I've been through as an adult, are there times that I make sure I talk about that and then I show, how obedience and hard work pays off? Yes, I'm going to do that because people need to see that as well. People need to see the fruit of your labor, the fruit of the labor, the fruit of being obedient. There's always going to be an opportunity to scam and scheme, but if you choose not to do that and you choose to get your stuff the legal, legitimate, ethical way, you need to see how people are still doing well who chose that route too, as opposed to, that's why a lot of people want to go and follow these people, because all these things and all this stuff, that is what people value, and that's what a lot of people want. So they like, hey, I'm going to go get that. I don't want to listen, get doing right. I ain't listening. I'm going to go do what they doing. Not understanding that stuff is temporary. Not understanding that a house built on an unstable foundation is destined to fall. And when you're doing stuff wrong, when you're getting stuff the wrong way, it's generally probably not going to maintain itself. And you know it. How many people just growing up in my time, guys in the streets making good money, selling drugs, doing whatever stuff they was doing that wasn't legal, and they looked all like everything was great. But then guess what? They end up going to jail, and they lose everything. Lose their time away from their family. Now they just a regular person. Or they end up getting killed because somebody want to take what you got. And that's even something you deal with when you're getting it the right way. But you put yourself, most of them stay in those environments because of what they're doing. You doing stuff the right way, you ain't got to stay in those environments. You can go and live somewhere where the people doing just as well as you, and they ain't trying to bop you upside your head, take what you got, or none of that stuff, because y'all all equal, So it's just, I hope that, when this video gets out or when people watch it, that, you just kind of, if nothing else, if you are just, they got a big flashy video commercial coming up on social media and they look like they got thousands of people they talk, just all this stuff. I just pray that you do your research, because people who are truly trying to help you, they're not trying to put you in a position for temporary happiness and temporary wealth. They are teaching you things that are going to set you up for life. You, your family, your children, your grandchildren, so that as they come and they're born, they're coming into a whole different world and a whole different element than what you grew up in, because you set them up for it by making the right choices, spending your money on things that are going to appreciate instead of depreciating, spending, and you can even spend your money on things that will possibly depreciate once you can truly afford them. Getting things, putting yourself in positions where you cannot pay your monthly bills just to, sometimes to make you feel happy, but it's really to make other people think that you have all this and how great your life is. Just makes no sense. You have time to get all of that. If you, for one, work harder, if you budget, if you save, if you invest, and if you stop blowing your money on stupid stuff that in this moment you may not can afford. If you do all those things and you work hard to do good and treat people well, you're going to end up with exactly the things that you want and you desire. And you know, we all have our different little vices and different things that, you know, we do. Mine is just not, you know, shopping on and spending it on stuff, jewelry, items, things. I like to go places, you know, but I'm also a 17-year cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor. So my view on life and how I enjoy life is going to be different than somebody who hasn't went through something like that. They get the joy by looking at a big diamond chain. They don't do. I get the joy by making memories. I get the joy by experiences, because in living actual fulfillment in life. That's for me. So like I said, I'm not putting down anybody, but you know, just you guys who are following people or getting in people's programs to, you know, do whatever. Learn how to sell real estate. Learn how to clean up your credit. Learn how to, all the stuff that they teaching you. Just research, first of all, the information that they're giving. And if they're really trying to help people who are in the community and who are low income, they won't be charging you thousands of dollars because they know you don't have it. And why would you put somebody more in the hole in order to quote unquote help them get out the hole? That don't even make no sense. That's even with me with times when people have to deal with attorneys and, you know, bankruptcies. I don't even you know, stuff like that. I don't understand that. It's like this person don't have no money. Why are you charging them $3,500, $5,000 to file something that you know it don't cost that much to do, that you ain't doing your doggone self, and you ain't the person who's doing the paperwork, you ain't paying them but $500-$600. It's like, you know, you saying you here to help people, but you really not. You're here to help yourself. You're really here to pad your pockets. For me, I truly want to help. Do I want to earn? Do I want to enjoy my life? Do I want to get paid for the things that I do? Yes. But I also understand that if everything that I'm doing is coming from a good place, God is my source. He's going to make sure I'm all right. He's going to make sure that I am able to take care of the people who may need a little lower cost. But then I'm also going to be sent the people who can afford to pay my full rates and full, you know, for everything that I do. You just can't. They don't care. I'm just telling you. And half of them don't really know what they're talking about anyway. A lot of them are lying to you. Anything will work until somebody catch you. I'm just saying. You can do a lot of stuff, but is it legal? No. And half the time they just flying under the radar and waiting until the ship come in. And I'm just saying that. So don't think just because stuff, oh, it worked. Yeah, it'll work. Because right now them people busy. Or right now they building the case. If you know anything about federal, they make sure they get all their ducks in a row before they come a knocking. They ain't knocking unless they know. And they take time and they talk to people and people and people. All these people who these people may have burned and told this lie and worked this scam with, and they get all them people lined up so that when it's time to knock on the door, they got their witnesses, they got everything. And you'll look up and that guru that you've been following, you're going to be following, watching them headed right on off to federal prison. So I'm just telling you, guys, bet your people. Everything that glistens and glitters ain't gold. Having stuff and being able to show, I always say this all the time, when we on this computer, we choose what you see. So remember that. When people ain't talking to you ever from their house, when they always at the high-end restaurant, high-end store, front of a high-end car, and all that stuff, probably, I'd say maybe 50% of them people really ain't got nothing. And then they film and it's only like in a little bathroom or something like that. You can't tell that they're really in a studio. They creating what you see. That's why it's the internet. That's why I call it fake reality. So understand, just because they can, for a 10-minute video or hour video or a 2-second photo, look like they doing it and doing it well, Don't always believe that. Watch them. If every time somebody's showing you something, they only showing you all the great things, then that means some bullcrap going on. Because ain't nobody's life perfect all the time. Ain't nobody just always face beat all the time. Always dressed in, all the time. Like, why? I don't even like them kind of people, because then that's fake to me, because that's nobody's life. Show people who you are. Let the people understand and fall in love with you. When people truly fall in love with you and who you are at the core, that's when they're gonna stick around. But then when it's you only showing bits and pieces, or you only showing them material things, but you ain't teaching people how to have longevity and build wealth through investments. And investments aren't diamond rings and gold chains and Gucci bags and Fendi bags and all that stuff. Most of it depreciates. And when you can't pay your rent, ain't nothing you can do with it. Go hopefully try to pawn it or sell it on the real or something else and get some money. And so now you can kill yourself to spend $5,000 on a bag to make somebody on the video, on the internet, or somebody on the street think you got some money, but you really didn't have it, because if you did, you never would have to sell it to pay your rent. Because if you understand, you should always have 6 months to a year worth of savings put up, period, if you really all right. If you really all right, you shouldn't need your next paycheck. You should want it, but you shouldn't need it, because you have done things the right way in between. And let me just say this, because I ain't finna sit and act like, I just always, because that's why I'm talking and keeping it real, because I've been there and done that. Been there. Got a ticket, got a jacket, got everything to show for it. Where I lost everything doing dumb stuff. But I said to myself, after the last go round, I wasn't being dumb no more, because I knew better. But growing up where I grew up, being in a city where people are stunning, if you know this, you got this, you own this, you got to show people. I mean, people, you need people to see, like, nah, I'm real business on. I really got a shop. I really got this and that. Look at my car. Look at my money. And all this stuff. That's stupid. And then what? Economy crashed. My ex crashed. Ain't had nothing. And couldn't maintain. Had to let go of everything. So never, ever. Grace of God. And not only that, I wasn't all the way right in the spirit of the things that I was doing either. So that's another reason why I speak on that. If it ain't built on the right foundation, you don't have to do any and everything just to get some money. And even though you may think you may be helping people, if it ain't right, if it's lying, if it's stealing, if it's fraud with anybody, it's probably not gonna last. I'm just telling you. So I'm just speaking from experience of people that I know, people that I've watched, just all my experiences. I'm just telling you, it ain't worth it. So grace to God, I some years ago decided to move and do things different, and share what I know. Once I exercise all the things that I know and move better and different, definitely want to help others in doing the same, understanding that don't matter where you come from. It don't matter. You don't have to have degrees. You don't have to all that to be successful, especially not in business. You got to have the work ethic, the passion, and the desire to never give up and never allow failure to make you choose to do things the wrong way because you're in a hurry to look like you're winning. None of us know when our last day is, but what I do know is being willing to do the wrong things, to rush to get the things that you want. You'll get to that point and it'll be something else going wrong in your life. And you'll be like, why? And it's because you have to look at the path and the journey that you took in order to get those things that you put all your value in. So I just really say, work on being a good person. Work on being a good person, listening to good people, following good people. We all need them. I don't just get, I work with people and I listen to people and people teach me as well. There's always somebody ahead of us or knowing more than us. If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I'm not at all saying, I'm the end all, the be all, but there are people who don't know as much as I know. There are people who need me, and then there are people that I need. My goal is to be there for those that can can benefit from working with me, learning something from me through my videos, um, and just hearing and me sharing my story of, trials, tribulation, and triumph. All right, I think it's been a long enough video. I hope, this did something for somebody today. I think I gave all my updates. Still with Mr. Man. Talked about the trending topics. I really didn't just give any information about anything with business and stuff like that. I'm going to figure out a way. Probably do another video this weekend because I'll be home alone. Do another video possibly this weekend. Maybe I'll give some tips, for business owners about taxation, deductions, what things that you can legally write off, and just all that kind of stuff. I probably will do something like that, upcoming video. Those don't do as well because, of course, people like to use the excuse that they just didn't know, not understanding that the government don't care if you knew or not. Ignorance is not an excuse for breaking the law. You will still get prosecuted even just because you didn't know. So you could ignore all you want, or you could choose to educate yourself and either work with somebody who educates themselves and learns the loops and the legal ways in order to save you as much money as possible. But the reality is you're not going to be a United States citizen and not pay taxes. I'm just saying. And then you want to be a millionaire and think you're going to pay taxes like somebody who makes $20,000. That just ain't gonna happen either, So trying to create all these ways to not pay, ain't smart. But then you want to live in $1 million, $2 million homes, drive $100,000 cars, but say you don't have no money on your tax. Okay, that's a whole different story. I ain't gonna talk about that. So thank you guys for watching. Everybody who has been watching, make sure you subscribe to my channel, share my video, and until next time, as I always say, remain in peace and not in pieces. God bless you. Peace.